Hey guys, what's up? I'm just kidding.
You're supposed to say
Hey, remember to smash that like button
and subscribe.
and subscribe. What's up, YouTube?
You're so mad at YouTube. I keep trying to get you to make YouTube videos. Billy Anderson on YouTube.
Hey guys.
You could be you making fun of YouTube. That
the
could
YouTube
be
mock guy.
Yeah. Okay. So here's our question that we're going to start with. Do you think it's important to be the best or the greatest at something?
To me, personally, no. I mean, it's something to strive for. It's something that people say to themselves to make themselves get better. I think it's important to be the best you can be, you know? And if getting there means you strive to be the best or think you're the best, then so be it. But I think you should be the best you can be.
Mm-hmm. I like that because people are always trying to get me to say like you're the best astrologer in the world or you're the best, and I'm like, well, because like for last night on Night Stars was talking about this real estate guy who's like he says he's the greatest real estate guy in the world, the greatest, and and it's like I don't know that seems narcissistic to me.
It's also like kind of an impossibility. Like, how do you quantify what the best would be? Like, what do the numbers say? There's no way to prove you're the best.
Well, and I feel like if I said I was the best, then that would be discounting how Judith's the best at body types. Like, I love this book so much, but it's like we're all the best. Like, there's a lot of us. I like that you be the best that you can be, not the best of the field kind of thing.
Yeah, like best is something that can be quantified with numbers. Like, I'm the best, chicken farmer because I have this many chickens. Like, but you can't say I'm the best at being really creative. Yeah. There's no way to make that add up.
But you can say, like, I'm the best mom I can be. I'm being the best mom. Are you being the best producer you can be to me?
Yeah, as far as I know. That's the way I approach it.
Well, you're the best.
Thanks, you're the best.
Yeah. So, wait, I want to show them the album that we made. See, this is the Moira 14 album
I haven't seen
that we recorded together years ago. And if you want to see us playing from this album, you can look at YouTube's our piano bombing video. Mm-hmm. You just YouTube search piano bombing, and it was us. Okay, our Marses are opposed, and we literally kept fighting because
Mars.
Well, dude, Mars is real, and so like, look at these Marsy earrings I have on. We kept fighting, and we were trying to date and stuff like that. Like we've had a long history, but like, I remember like I had to convince my team to let me go out and produce with you because they were like, I don't know if he's safe, and I was like, well, I don't know if I'm safe, and like my Mars is opposed to his Mars. So the reason we made the piano bombing video is we were trying to prove that we could do an explosively good thing. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
Instead of like exploding in violence or exploding in anger, we're like, let's explode in something amazing. So we made piano bombing.
Yes.
But do you like this album?
I love that album.
I love this album. So I think I did the best I could at this album.
You did.
And you did too.
I gave that my best. And dim sum.
It's probably one of the best things I've ever made. People don't even know how to get one of these. If you want one of these, let me know. I'll maybe send one to you. I don't know. I don't even know how I decide to send these to people. It's like if I really like someone and love them, then I send them my album. But look how there's a chart on it. See, there's the 12 pie pieces of the chart. And the 14 means Moira 14. My Pisces moon's at the 14th degree. So Moira means drawing, or like the fates you're here to partake in. So Moira 14 means me drawing down the face of my 14th degree is what it means.
And weren't we calling that 14 hertz, which is like a frequency that human bodies resonate at in certain areas?
Because your company is called Everything Hurts.
That's my studio name, yeah.
Your studio name. And so then we were 14 hertz, which is the frequency. Isn't it the frequency of hyperintelligence?
It's a frequency that I can't remember right now what organ. Like all the organs in your body resonate at certain frequencies. Like if you can find a speaker that could reproduce 14 hertz, it would cause certain physical reactions in you. Like 17 hertz is a frequency that resonates in your brain and it causes fear. And military people have experimented with this for years. Like, if you can make a speaker that reproduces 17 hertz, which is kind of hard to do, you can cause, like, big groups of people to be scared and, like,
Oh, my God.
I remember 14 hertz, I can't remember exactly what it is.
It's hyperintelligence.
Could be.
But, yeah, like, I remember when I was in the studio with you and you would try to heal my certain organs, you'd be trying to see what I could feel. So I would sit on a big speaker in your studio, and then you would change the frequencies to different organs and stuff. You're like, this is going to your kidney.
Yeah, it's a thing.
You can heal somebody's body with a frequency?
Yeah, I mean that's how certain animals communicate that way. Like whales communicate with frequencies that we can't even hear, and some we can. Elephants, they hear low, super infrasonic frequencies that we can't even hear. We could maybe feel them.
Wow.
But yeah, like it's part of nature. It's like super low frequencies, and we only have stereo systems that can make that can reproduce sounds down to a certain level, but there's sounds that are way below that we can't even hear.
Wow, that's fascinating.
But we feel them.
Wow. Okay, so I'm gonna try to be the best I can be at asking you questions.
Okay.
Okay. So how much should I be? Now this is a producer question. How much should I be trying to focus on other people in my field, like the other oceans, and how much should I be focusing on my own ocean?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. It depends on if it's like focusing on them because they're adversarial, or focusing on them because they're influential, or just focusing on them because that's another person that's doing what you do. It depends on kind of why you're focusing on them. I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're focusing on them because it's a negative influence, like it's adversarial or competitive in some way, then that might not be the best place to focus your energy. But I don't know. Sometimes adversary people make us try harder. Competition's good.
Yeah. Well, Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage, like a lot of astrologers are like intellectual fighters, and it's like Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage, like were they friends or not? Like I think they were kind of friends, but they're kind of adversarial because their job is to go at each other. And I think with the astrologers, they get kind of confused because, like, from a scholarship level, we're supposed to go at each other in some ways. But then it's like those people who I can go at it with, those are my friends in the show business.
Like, do you think that there's a right and wrong in astro stuff? I don't think there is.
Well, like there is with the translation of Vedic Valens, which I did from ancient Greek and English. There's another translation of it, and like there's always these like people who are comparing the translations, so that gets kind of adversarial. But like I don't see that as there's like one right translation. It's like they both have their strong suits, but the conversation is adversarial.
Yeah, I mean translation's a tricky thing because like you would think it would be set in stone. Like what does this word mean in this language or whatever? You would think that would be set in stone, but like the Bible, it's texts that are translated into other languages, and like it's actually very open to interpretation. So something you would think is set in stone isn't necessarily.
Well, yeah, like with one of the other oceans in astrology, that's from our last episode when I was saying that my dream or vision is that astrological remediation needs to get everywhere in astrology, and Billy said you are the ocean, and like that's where that's coming from. But so like with these other oceans in astrology, like okay, with my translation, okay, this is the thing is like people constantly compare my translation to the other translation. So I feel like I need to address the other translation when I'm talking about my translation. But another way to approach it would be to just talk about my translation only and ignore the other translation. So that's my question is like, do the Melvins talk about other metal bands or do they just stick to their own?
They talk about other bands. Usually it's like sarcastically. Like it's hardly ever you'll hear praise about other contemporary bands from them, even though it's just kind of like Buzz's persona is to like talk shit on other people.
Oh, interesting.
But it's not like he is being like aggressive about it. It's just like snarky, and it creates a sense of like roasting somebody. I think it's a positive thing. There's a lot of bands that those guys do look up to, but they're not usually contemporaries. They're usually bands that they were influenced by when they were younger, kind of thing.
Well, this other guy in astrology, like he thinks that if I ever disagree with him, like I'm against him. He was like, give me a call on the phone, like we could be friends, we could rekindle our friendship, and I was like, okay. Well, then I had to talk about something about the translation online that I didn't totally agree with, and he's like, I thought we were making a friendship, and I was like, we are, but my character in history disagrees with your character in history on this question. Like, so I don't understand. Like, my job isn't to be a minion to the other ocean and be like, oh, whatever you say. It's like Macho Man Randy Savage didn't agree with Hulk Hogan. He was his own animal.
Yeah, but even though they're playing the same game, they're playing the same song.
Yeah, I'm not trying to roast anyone, but I'm also not trying to be like someone's sub.
Yeah, you have your own path, and it's like no one's right or wrong. You just have your own style and your own view of things, and it doesn't mean you have to bow down to anybody just because they're defensive or insecure when you disagree with them, you know? Like, part of being secure about something is not having to defend it too much, you know what I mean? Like, when you're super defensive, maybe you're not secure about it, you know?
Yeah, I am getting very secure in my translation because it's like it has some imperfections, but it is really worthy. And what I've started to do is talk to the other sign language interpreters and I know about translation theory. So we're going at it from a scholarly approach. Is like the ASL interpreters talk to the astrologers, and we talk about translation because like what rubs me the wrong way is a lot of the people on the other translation are historians, and I'm a linguist. Like I literally have been a sign language interpreter for 25 years. They don't know interpreting theory. They know history, and I'm lacking in history. But like, I feel like sometimes they treat me like I'm down here and they're up here, and I'm like, we're actually, if there was a dream team of astrologers going to the global festival, like I would be the linguist on the dream team.
The cunning linguist. No, yeah, I get it. I get where those people come from, but I also get where you come from. Like, you know, like coming from a scientific sort of background, anthropology stuff, it's funny to see somebody like doing Ancient Aliens on History Channel. It's like, I know how those people feel because they're like, well, I am the educated one and you couldn't, you know, like, but I think that slight conflict is healthy. It stirs up people, you know, like, because Ancient Aliens was on the History Channel, more people see it, and then you get average person talking about, yeah, the aliens came and that's where the pyramids were built. And it's like, come on, dude, if you knew anything about science, you would know that that's kind of just a really soda pop version of it. So I get like feeling scholarly as opposed to people who aren't educated in that field, but it's also like, it's not like you don't know anything. It's, you know, you're presenting your version of it, and it stirs thoughts in them. Like they might think, they might be testing their education, thinking about stuff you're presenting, and it's healthy for everybody. But,
well, I found videos of Neil deGrasse Tyson. You know who he is?
Of course.
Yeah, he's like one of the most famous, astrophysicists, and he like gets really mad. He'll like stand up on stage and be like, "No, like I don't agree with that." And it's like that's how strongly I feel about my translation.
And he wouldn't be standing up so adamantly if he couldn't defend what he's saying.
Right. Oh yeah. Well, that's why I have my book here. Everything's an argument. Yeah. It's about like how you make a good debate. It's about how you make a good debate, basically, and it's like.
Sorry.
Yes, it is. But basically, like, I'm learning to just be, like, a good debater because it's, like, this guy that I'm talking about, like, he actually made a 7-hour critique video of someone else in our field. And I'm like, so I'm not allowed to disagree with you, but you're allowed to make a 7-hour critique video? Like, what do you own everything? You don't own anything.
I'm trying to be the master debater. It's not flattering to anybody.
That's true. I'm not trying to be a master debater.
You know, debate is healthy. It stirs up. It makes people more convicted about what they're saying, and you know, makes people have to prove it. You know, you got to be able to stand behind what you say. Like, you would never see Neil deGrasse Tyson debating something unless he could prove what he's saying, unless he could quantify it in some way.
That's what's in here. It says like you make your point, and then you make like several points about your point. Like it's like, I guess I feel like what I'm trying to learn to do is like, if I'm gonna disagree with someone in my field, then I need to back it up with. You have to back it up, or else
it's a big zero. It's a big null set if you can't back it up. You can't just say, no, that's not what I believe, and not say here's why. You know.
Okay, interesting.
Like the best thing in the world is like watching Neil deGrasse Tyson, talk to and about flat earthers.
About flat Earth people.
It's precious. It's precious. He's like, okay, here's why you're wrong, and he'll just go down a small, like, seeming like snarky, sarcastic list. You know, like just making them kind of feel silly, not to make them feel bad about themselves. Just be like, okay, here's why you shouldn't listen to this person. And it's just comedic.
Well, I think what you're teaching me is like, you know, it's like my job isn't to get big by agreeing with everyone. My job is to be big in astrology and have my own opinions and then just back them up. Like you're saying, just Andy, make sure you back up what you're saying.
You gotta back it up or else it doesn't matter, you know, or, you know, and like you may not be big, or you may be in this world for saying the things you say, but you're saying something unique, and if you can back it up, you'll be big in the big book of things. Like, you know, like I've always said, I won't be famous in a lifetime. People have told me that before, you know.
Oh, you're already famous in this lifetime.
I don't know about that, but like, you know, it's about how big a footprint you want to leave in the bigger picture, you know. Like
I love how you act like you're not famous. Billy is famous, you guys. Like, I actually can't get to Billy unless I, like, play my cards right.
Or unless you just get in your car and drive over there.
Well, I know, but that's after 10 years. Like, it took me 10 years and, like, keeping this picture on my mantle. No, okay. So,
Personal.
so, so then, you remember how people thought the metalheads were, like, bigots and stuff like that? And
Some of them are.
Some of them are,
But
yeah.
some
but
of everybody is bigoted, you know.
Well, this brings me to the question that we were talking about yesterday. What is the difference between being famous and being notorious?
Yeah, I don't know. Famous is like the mainstream version of notorious, I think. Like, I think they're synonymous in certain cases. Notorious has more of like a controversial edge to it, the notion of notorious. You know?
That'd be like being noteworthy.
Noteworthy, but with an edge. Yeah, noteworthy, like influential, but, you know, kind of the dark side of the coin.
Well, people always tell me, like, because, you know, when you get kind of, like, well-known, people are like, well, are you being manipulative? And I'm like, actually, I'm influential, not manipulative. Like, just because I have influence, like, for example, if I want to manifest something, it's actually pretty easy for me because, like, I have a whole crowd watching, so I can be like, well, let's say I want to do a bunch of readings. I can be like, well, when I'm doing astrology reading, I basically just tell them that I do astrology readings, and then they're like, oh, I could book a reading with her. Like, it's not being manipulative, though. That's like being influential. Just because you have a big influence in the world doesn't mean that you're manipulating people. I mean, like, what is manipulation like?
I mean, we're all manipulative to a certain degree. You know, if anybody's watching this, you're being manipulated by watching it. You know, you take what you want from it, but like, we all manipulate to a certain degree. I mean, your child manipulates you into feeding them every day. You know.
Yeah, that would be a negativistic approach on like being, like having an influence essentially.
Yeah, I don't think manipulation is always a negative thing unless you're using it for nefarious purposes. You know, like I, in essence, manipulate bands into giving me money to help them make their music. You know, if you want to look at it like that, but
Yeah.
you know, it's all depending on how you look at it.
Well, that's being a good salesperson.
Yeah.
You know, but well, and yeah, I mean, I think manipulative has a negative connotation, and I just want to say that like the famous people I know are not manipulative. Like it's like
not in a negative way.
Well, that is a negative word.
It can. I
was looking for my dictionary. There's a dictionary over there.
Manipulative and influential are also sometimes synonymous.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not. I mean, being influential is, I guess, maybe being passively manipulative.
Well, would you want to be not influential?
I don't know. I never really think about it. If like what I do influences somebody in a positive way, that's great. I don't really think about being influential or not. You know, I've been told that I am, but I don't try to be.
Yeah, interesting.
I'm not gonna claim to sit and be like an influencer.
I'm trying to be influential because I want to influence all astrologers to know what astrological remediation is.
I want to be like an influenza.
That's actually a good way to look at it. It's just like infiltrate like the flu.
I think they stem from the same word.
Dude, I'm going to be an influenza of AR.
There you go.
Do you know what AR is?
Our influenza. No, I don't.
It's astrological remediation.
Oh yeah, there you go.
AR.
Yeah.
See, that's being manipulative because if I make you learn that AR is astrological remediation, then you'll be like, oh, like AR this, AR that.
Yeah.
It's
also an amino acid, arginine.
It also means a lot of things.
Yeah.
But you know, like I want to be like, yeah. Have you looked at that chart from an AR perspective? Mm-hmm. Have you looked at that aspect of personality through an AR lens?
Yeah, I say stuff like that all the time. Like from an anthropological standpoint, that makes sense because of this. You know.
Yeah.
I see people's need for that.
Well, there's this thing called evolutionary astrology, and it got truncated to EA. People will be like, "Do you study EA?" And I'm like, "Well, do you study AR?"
Yeah. That's.
Okay.
Do you even eat AR, bro? Do you even AR?
Do you even AR?
Do you even AR? Do you air?
Okay. Okay. So I have a question for you. I was saying the other day, I was like, I'm just ready to like get famous and chill. Mm. Okay, and the reason I said that is if all the astrologers had AR, the book, then I could chill.
Like, for a minute.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think I really want to chill?
No. If you're famous, you can't chill for a sec, or else you won't be famous for long.
Really?
Yeah, you can't just get famous and chill, because then you're just a flash in the pan.
You're a one-hit wonder.
Yeah, you're fucking Tony Basil, or like.
So I should give up the idea of chilling.
Well, I mean, you got to chill at moments, or else you'll go insane and burn out. But like, you can't just be like, oh, I had a hit single. I'm done playing music forever.
Okay.
Okay. You gotta do county fairs and play that song till you die.
So I should AR. Should I AR and chill?
AR and occasionally chill.
Okay. AR and chill.
OC, yeah.
OC, what's that?
Occasionally chill.
Okay.
Or obsessive compulsive.
AR and OC. Okay. Well, so like this is why you need a producer. You guys are probably wondering like, why is Andy talking to a producer? Because like literally, I don't know how to be. I'm like, should I try to chill? Should I try to get like, okay, now I'm like I sold 87 copies of AR last month.
Cool.
And I'm like, oh, maybe now I can chill. But like then it doesn't happen because when I sell 87 copies, then I sell 30 astrology readings in 3 weeks. And
you gotta live up to that, or else it will just happen that once and not happen again.
Exactly. So like let's not ever chill. I'm not gonna chill. I'm gonna chill. I'll chill at the end of a day.
You gotta live up to the fame. Like if you get famous, you gotta live up to it, or else it cancels out. It doesn't equal famous at the end of the day. If you can't live up to that and maintain it,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do believe in AR like as a sustaining thing. Like one of the things I was reading about business the other day is like people want to be loyal to a brand they like because they want to commit to it for a long time. So they want to know that you're going to be around for a long time. So it's like, I think maybe I should say like AR and be around for a long time.
Yeah, AR and tend the store.
Okay, AR and tend the store. Okay. So
yeah. Watch the counter.
So break on AR, influenza AR. And move forward day by day. Okay.
Yeah. Influenza, AR, and then tend the till and do the other ones.
And do readings.
Yeah.
I should do readings.
Yeah. And answer to the AR thing whenever necessary because you're famous for it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. Do you ever work as a bodyguard?
I have. Spiritually, physically, yes, I have done that.
Yeah.
I often do that for friends. Not officially, like the guy with the collar radio, like that kind of. I mean, do that too, but like, yeah, spiritual bodyguard, emotional bodyguard.
Yeah, I remember when we did the wall show and I wanted you to go with me, and I was like, "Can you bodyguard me from the drummer's energy?" Like he was really vibing hard. His chart was really vibing hard, and I was like, "Oh, it's hurting me,"
Well, we did that piano bomb thing. We hired 2 bodyguards for the video.
Yeah, we had 3 bodyguards.
Yeah,
didn't we?
Just for the video purposes because they're big, hairy tree people, as you call them.
Yeah, totally.
But I think we were bodyguarding each other in reality.
Yes. Oh, yeah, we were because we were both going through it. Like, I was dealing with the Portland School of Astrology and, like, allegations that I was racist and transphobic and, like, yeah, I don't know.
It's hilarious that somebody would say that about you.
I know, isn't that so weird? Well, I actually met this guy yesterday who, I'm about to start talking about the race and astrology videos, and, like, I met him, and I was talking to him, and I was like, will you make race and astrology videos with me? He's like, oh, totally. And then I was like, do you know that people think that I should admit that I'm a racist? Like, that's how a lot of people think I should handle this, and I'm like, and I'm not going to ever admit that because I'm not. Like, I think it's okay to just be like, I'm not racist. I'm anti-racist.
Yeah. I mean, the mere act of saying that makes people think you might be racist. Well, but it's like you and you alone know if you're racist or not, and people can accuse you of all kinds of stuff. Doesn't mean it's true.
Dude, I'm chartist. Like if my chart doesn't get along with somebody, I won't hang out with them, and it has nothing to do with their race. But it's like I'll be like, we have a bad composite chart, and I'm not even gonna film you on my TV program.
Race is such a sensitive thing right now. Like if you say something about somebody that isn't your skin color, you're racist to them, and it's like, no, we're just talking. Like, I always say I'm a racist. I'm racist as hell, a human racist. I hate all humans equally.
Well, people always wonder like how I decide who to work with, and I always decide based on the composite chart. Like with you and I, it's like we've had a 10-year history. Like we've dated, we've done all these things, and it's like people are like, why do you keep Billy as your producer? I'm like, because our composite chart is amazing. Like we alchemically, like I know you're in music and I'm in astrology, and it's like this thing where you wouldn't say our paths align, but we align, and so like I'm keeping you basically.
Yeah. We can make the square peg round hole thing work.
Yeah.
Astro music, I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of people that are in music, especially metal, are super into astro stuff and vice versa. Like, I think the paths often cross. It's not like two alien worlds, you know.
Totally. Do you think I really have bodyguards, or I made it up?
I think that you like feeling like you have protectors and bodyguards, you know. I don't necessarily think you always need them, but you feel like you do, so you make it to whatever degree you feel comfortable with, you know.
Well, that's what I think it is, a role thing. It's like, it would be like assigning someone the role of being treasurer. Like, it's like, can someone play the role of bodyguarding me as I go to a conference in case the crowd swell happens, in case, like, I get in a fight with another ocean.
Like, you're
or
responsible for this aspect if it's a thing.
Well, yeah, or like it happens when we're making TV shows. Like, Fern and I were making Night Stars, and we totally had a crowd bomber, and like she was like bringing up my daughter's name and like doing all these weird things, and like the bodyguards had to come in and take her out of there. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So it's like you just can't bodyguard yourself when you're, because like as someone who's well known, like 87 people bought remediation last month. That means it's 87 more people who know who I am.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, if I'm sitting in a room and, like, I'm trying to be nice to people and then I got to go to the bathroom or something, like, it's like the bodyguard allows me to be nice, you know, because then I can be like, oh, excuse me, and the bodyguard just steps right in. Like,
maybe it's just called having somebody's back, but, like, you
wingman.
know, like, I came over here to do this video, and if you want to make a production list, like, you're the dietary consultant, hospitality engineer, you know, and if you have a problem with, like, the audio on this video, I could be audio consultant. Yeah, just put it at 44K. Like, you know.
We're going to put it at 17 hertz.
17 does hurt, for sure.
Yeah, you're right. Like, I think it just becomes about roles. And it's like sometimes we play these roles for our friends. Like, you and I are really good friends. And also, you're my producer. So, like, when we're hanging out as friends, like, we'll just be talking. I'll be like, how's your mom? How's your sister? And you'll be like, how's your boyfriend? And then I'll be like, all right, we're going to make a video tomorrow. And you're going to be my producer tomorrow. And so it's like a role we play for each other, but it's also real.
And you came and got me, so that you're the transportation manager.
Well, I know, it's like well, when we hired our bodyguards for that video, those were our friends, and we're like, will you be the bodyguards for the video? But we actually kind of did need bodyguards because we had such a big crowd there.
Yeah.
You know.
Or so it appears in the video.
Yeah, exactly. Editing tricks.
Editing tricks. Editing president.
Yeah, okay. So, well, I think that's legit to say, like, but like this happens with my friends, like Judith. Like, she's always like kind of worried about being seen on screen and all this stuff, and she's like literally legendary in astrology. And I'm like, will you get a bodyguard and chill, please? Like, I'm like, can you get a bodyguard and come online with me? Because like, I literally can't even be seen on camera with my best friend because she's like doesn't have a bodyguard. And I actually think that I'm smart in show business to assign a bodyguard when I go make public appearances in astrology. It's like, I actually think I'm smart for doing that, because then I can get as big as is necessary to do my job.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about bodyguard in the literal traditional sense, like, do people like come out of the crowd and try to get at you physically?
Well, what happens to me is I get overwhelmed by the crowd. So there'll be like 10 people trying to talk to me at once, and I can't get to all of them. Yeah. So we need somebody, or like, it might be that someone wants to talk to me for like a really long time, and I can't do that, stuff like that.
Yeah, like more like security, or like your posse, kind of.
Yeah, it's like having a crew to kind of just intercept things, you know. But like also crowd souls will happen. Like if I get emotional, my crowd gets emotional. So like if let's say one of the other oceans in astrology pisses me off, I'll be like, no, that's not what happened. And then the crowd starts to get, and then the bodyguards have to kind of like, so there actually are times where the bodyguards are needed. Like it's not all the time.
Yeah, you don't need 24-hour security, you know, like posted up outside your house in case there's people trying to get in or whatever.
Right. Not yet anyway.
Not yet. Yeah. My hand is cramped from signing autographs. I need a masseuse.
So, okay, I'm going to ask you a weird question.
Okay.
Why do you think I was born? What is my life purpose?
That's a deep question. What do you think your life purpose is? I mean, I could answer it, but I think it's more important what you think your life purpose is.
Well, I think I incarnated, because I can see and remember about 6,000 charts. I mean, that's just a number I'm coming up with. But, like, I think I definitely incarnated for astrology. I guess I'm trying to figure out, like, how does music play into my life purpose? Because, you know, I also really can clear bad vibes from my room playing the piano. Yeah. Like, you know...
You were given a gift to play music. Like, you're obviously musically talented in a lot of ways, and the fact that you can play instruments and play them not only proficiently but well, uh, you don't ignore that. Like, you know, technically astrology has nothing to do with music really, but like you still play music even though your chosen path is astrology. So you're acknowledging the gift of being able to play music, and you use it, you know, in whatever ways you can.
Well, I suppose that we have multiple life purposes. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's like a lot of the other astrologers that I know don't play music. And I think one of the things about me is like I'm a Pisces moon and I'm super sensitive to vibes and frequencies. And
Mm-hmm.
like if someone's aura is vibing me out, I can play music and clear bad auras or like bad vibes or whatever. Like music's always been like a protection for me. I started playing when I was 4, like you did, and I would come home from high school and weep and cry and play the piano for like 2 hours at a time. And like I think that's one of the ways I clear
Mm-hmm.
energies, you know. So it's like it's been like a tool for me to, but like I use an astrologer. I remember like 4 years ago at the Northwest Astrological Conference, we flash mobbed. There's this piano that in the lobby all the time, and it said "Don't play me" or whatever, and it would always drive me nuts because I'm like I can't play that piano. But we flash mobbed it, and I played "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star" on it, and it was
Oh.
like so beautiful. And there was a big crowd around and everything like that. So I mean, I've used the piano in my astrology career several times to make, but like okay, so on the YouTube channel there's 42 music videos, and I'm like, and then the astrology talking videos there's maybe like I don't know how many astrology talking videos, but it's like there's a lot of music videos, and I'm thinking like why did God create a musician and an astrologer? Like I can't really choose one, you know,
No,
like
you can't not be musically talented or feel the need to play music. You can't not have that. You know, ignoring it would be really hard to do. You know.
well, and then it makes me want to ask you, and I know this is a really selfish thing to talk about myself, but you are being my producer in this hour. So, like, that's why I'm actually asking this question. Because, like, if you look up here at my readings, like, people ask me all day long, what is my life purpose? That's what I do as an astrologer, is, like, deal with other people's life purposes. And I'm like, I'm just asking my producer, what is my life purpose, you
Mm.
know? Like, but, like, what are the River Cats? What is my band's role at the Moira Press? Like, why would the Moira Press school and bookstore space have a band?
Um, I mean, it could be just as simple as that you need to play music to be your whole self, and your whole self is what Moira Press is. You know, like you're presenting your whole self, and without the music, you wouldn't be your whole self.
I like that answer because I think that's exactly how I see it. Is like I feel like my one job as an astrologer is to live out my whole chart, and like I really support mega manifestation, which is when you do your chart in a mega maximalist fashion, one transit at a time. And I'm actually trying to model that for my students of being like, watch me go on music now. That's my transits playing music now. Now I'm teaching a class. Now I'm writing another book. Like, but I'm maximally producing myself one transit at a time, and myself includes music.
Yeah, like they're not, you know, like music and astrology aren't directly like brother and sister necessarily, but they're distant cousins. You know, like without the music, you wouldn't be you, and you being you is what your Moira Press thing is all about. You know, it's
Right.
about you being you. You wouldn't be your whole self without it. So
Right,
it's
it's true. I
necessary.
feel like astrology is a manifestation study. It's like how do you manifest yourself? And like in that song, that heaven song I write, it said, "We are the light of the cosmos. The light of the body is in your eyes. Light up everything in your house and illuminate your light before man.
Hmm.
Furnish your version of a beautiful work." Like so, it's like I don't. I want my students to, and you know, crew or whatever to manifest their beautiful version of a thing. You know,
Hmm.
it's like I don't want you to try to be someone else. I want you to be you maximally.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like I don't want you to be an astrologer. Like you've always known who you are. Like you never taken on astrology even though I'm really into it. Like you are just you being you and
Hmm.
like but you do yourself in a mega fashion, which
I mean, whenever I do myself, I try to do it mega. No, you talk about furnishing. You know, like your house. You've lived in a number of different places. This is a literal translation of that. And since I've known you, and your house has always had a piano in it. You know, no matter what's going on in the house, there's always that. It's
yeah.
just part of what makes you you. Like it's not a decoration. It's part of the house.
Yeah, totally.
You know.
It's true. Okay. Um So, do you think it's better for me to be a one-trick pony and just focus on astrology, or do you think it's okay to be a diversified, okay, let's call it a star, because like we're all stars, right? Come on, we're talking about astrology, we're all stars, but like, is it okay to be diversified, like to be? Because I actually believe that I'm supposed to also be well known for music, because my music heals people. Like it's very healing to listen to my piano playing.
I think you have to try. I think if you're multi-talented, you have to explore those things and see how much you can pull them off. Like, does it mean that like each field you're trying to do gets diluted a little bit because there's only so many hours in a day? You know, it's a question that'll probably never be resolved. Like, like I do music, but I also like do art things, and like, I don't focus on those because it dilutes the music, because I'm only a human being and I can't be awake 24 hours a day. But like, I focus on the things that bring the most benefit, and like, I think it's okay to have multiple disciplines and fields, but you got to try to gauge whether each of those fields is getting less attention paid to it because you're doing the other things. Like, that's why there's scientists that devote their entire life to one study, like the mating life of red ants in the desert. Like, you'll find people that dedicate their whole life to niche things like that, because if they're trying to do too many things, they can't devote full attention to that one field.
Interesting. So who was that guy, that singer? Was it in Iron Maiden or Judas Priest, who was also a professor? Who was that? It was like the lead singer, I think, of Judas Priest. Rob Halford?
I don't know that he's
I think there are hybrid, but I like what you're saying, that it comes down to like specialization gives you more time on that niche thing.
Yeah. It lends more to the legend of you being known for that, is if you focus on one thing. But also there's danger of being a burnout. Like, if you focus too much on one thing, you start to resent it, and it burns you out.
Yeah. When I'm thinking of it from like a higher manifestation level, okay, I'm just telling you this because you're like literally my producer. Is like, okay, so like I've thought about this, like, should I stick to astrology? Should I go to music or whatever? But I thought, if I'm really going to be a character in history that goes down in history, like, what if I was like the astrologer who was also a famous musician? Like, because it's like, my music is that good. I mean, no offense, but this album is that good. Like, it is like, if the Melvins came over, I'd be like, you want to hear my album? Like, I'd be like proud of it. You know what I mean? Like, it's that good. The point is like, I'm like, if I'm trying to go down in history as a star, like, I should be a star astrologer and a star piano player, like, not one or the other.
You should do it if you can pull it off. Like, I find that I try to test my own limits, but I kind of know my own limits. Like, if I'm working on too many albums at the same time, each one of them suffer a little bit because I can't devote full attention to any of them. So it's best when I know my limits, and I know when I'm trying to do too much. And that boundary constantly moves depending on my stage in life.
Well, then we could look at you as like, every chart is composed of little pieces, and like there's a part of you that's a recording engineer. That's your Virgo stuff, square your Sag. It's like the adventure of all these details is like part of your chart. And then there's a part of you that like likes to travel, and it like travels to do albums. And then there's a part of you that does like big grandiose productions, and like, so it's like there's like the technical engineer in you, and then the big grandiose producer, and like, so I think, when we did the piano bombing video, the grandiose productions part of you was up, and like, so it's like, I didn't want the technical audio engineer. I wanted the big guy, like, so I think we're all composed of little pieces, and, like, you're like, when you're in your humble audio engineer part of your chart, you like forget the big dude. Like I do this too. Like, I'll forget who I am, like, because I'll be in one part of my chart and I'll forget the other part of my chart, kind of thing. And like, normal. Yeah. So you do that too.
Yeah, I think that we sometimes spread ourselves too thin, and then each thing we're trying to make as good as it can be suffers a little bit because we're spreading ourselves too thin. But like, I think it's about knowing your limits, and and constantly pushing those limits too. Like, also, when I'm spread really thin, a lot of really good things come out of that like delirium of like not enough sleep and like pushing it a little too hard. Like, I like pushing the boundary, but it's about knowing when you're trying to do too much.
Okay, cool. All right, we have one more question in 5 more minutes, which is, okay, how much should we be focusing on crowd numbers versus just doing our thing? Like if there's a small crowd, should we worry about that? Like, because like, for example, I was doing a once a week event, And then that got so big that my crew took me to 7 events a week. Like, so I went from 1 to 7. And so now we have smaller crowds at those 7 events, but I'm showing up 7 times a week, you know? So, like, is it better to show up more often and have more crowd engagement with a smaller crowd? Or, like, should I be showing up less often with bigger crowds? Or, like, do you have any crowd numbers advice?
I mean, numbers are important, especially if you're trying to make a living off of it. You know, the more people you're reaching, the better. But, like, it's like, you know, when you were in college, you were in classes where it was like, there's 6 people in this class. It's a specialized course. But then you were in, like, you know, probably in a math class in an auditorium full of people, and the professor never individually talks to any of them. They just show up and teach what they're supposed to teach, and like 200 people hear it, but there's no one-on-one. So it's like, it depends on what you're in it for, you know, like you're deeply reaching those 10 students that you're talking to when it's only 10 people. You're deeply reaching them, and maybe their influence will blossom out into more and more people. But I think when we're trying to reach too many people, the message gets diluted a little bit.
That's a good point, because I actually really want to work with people one-on-one. Like, no matter how big I get, like, I still want to work with people one-on-one. So I think these small events, I like them because I get to have intimate, you know, time. And it's before I get super big. It's like the years where you could get to me and the years where I cared, and like you saw that I cared and stuff. It's like there's going to be a point where people cannot get to me. And like that's going to be a different iteration of this thing, and that's going to be a little sad.
Yeah,
you know?
and then your responses and teachings become kind of cookie cutter because you're trying to process too many individuals.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, so I should rock whatever number's there and just see the goodness in each crowd.
Yeah, and it's about knowing the limits and like knowing when the message that you're trying to spread is becoming thinned out and diluted too much. You know, you just got to check yourself on that kind of thing. Like, is what I'm trying to do getting spread too thin, and am I trying to reach too many people, and maybe my message is being, you know, misinterpreted or not being heard because too many people are trying to understand it, you know, and I'm not able to devote one-on-one attention to it, you know.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Billy. Is there anything you want to say? Any last words?
Not that I can think of, except for smash that like button.
All right, and
guys.
subscribe. You're gonna be great on your YouTube channel. We'll get people smashing that like button. All right, thanks, you guys. Have a good day. Bye.